So hello guys, welcome to PyTroops. Today we are gonna developing an Instagram bot and we're gonna be sending DM messages to different celebrities and this all process is gonna be an automate process. So yeah, let's get started. So first of all, we have to start with importing Selenium as we did in the last tutorial. So if you guys haven't watched the last tutorial, so you guys must watch it because we did setup in that tutorial. So after that I'm gonna just import different libraries selenium dot. So I'm gonna just copy it from a different window like here. These are the libraries that we're going to be using. So after that first of all we have to create a class which will be instabot, and in that we will be creating a constructor in which we will passing username, password, and after that DM accounts with that message. So yes, the username and password is your Instagrams, and the DM accounts, it will be a list which you have to pass which contains different accounts name that you want to send messages. We will be just gonna be adding different usernames in it, and this message is just a text that you want to send to these particular usernames. So after that I'm gonna just create an instance for these all attributes. So after that I'm gonna just create a function which will be our login function to log in to our Instagram account, and before that I'm gonna be creating a WebDriver instance which will be webdriver.chrome, and I'm gonna pass it here chrome.driver.exe. So yes, this is it. And after that if you guys don't know about this thing or any of this Selenium thing, so you should watch the last tutorial. So I explained everything there, all the setup. So after that first of all we have to just let me create a simple variable for WebDriver. Okay, so first of all we have to just open the Instagram, for which we can just go to like HTTPS. Yes, after that we have to call this function here because it's not gonna run itself. We have to call it somewhere else. Usually we call it in the driver code where we create our object. Let me create an object of this class instabot, and after that I'm gonna be passing username and password. So I'm gonna be using different approach for this. You guys just simply write your username and password. So I'm gonna just write here import OS, and after that I'm gonna just copy paste this. So basically I saved my Instagram username and password before in my environment variables, so I don't have to write my Instagram username and password here, so I can just use it here like username and password. You guys can just write simply your username and password in a string, so it will not be a matter. So after that I'm gonna just type different accounts and that I want to send messages. So I'm gonna just send PyTroops. After that, let me just add Justin Bieber, and what can I add more? So I'm gonna just add one more singer. So after that, I'm gonna just send them this message: hello dear Sap. So yeah, that's it. Our class is created, and I created an object for the class. Now let's run the script, and it should open the Chrome driver. So as you can see that it's opening the web driver, and it's gonna search for Instagram on it. So yeah, as you can see. So after that, we have to write here username and password, for which we are gonna be using this thing. Just right click on the input box and just inspect the elements, and click on this arrow and select this input field, and just right click this area which is already selected and copy the full X path. And after that, we have to just write it here, bot dot find, sorry, and just paste the XPath that you copied from the inspect element here. And after that, sorry, let me just put it in a variable, and after that I can just use a dot send keys, and I'm gonna just send here my username, which is self.username. Okay, so I'm gonna be using self.username here, and after that I'm gonna do the same thing for password as well. So I'm gonna just copy paste it here. I'm gonna just change it with password, create another variable, and I also have to change the XPath for it, which is just right click, copy full path. Okay, so now just paste here. This is the XPath for password. So now we have added the XPath of username and password. This send keys method is just gonna send our username to that input field and this password to that input field. So after that, we are just sending username and password. You have to also click the login button. For that, we have to create another variable which will be login button, and after that bot dot find element by XPath, and for which we can just just check, inspect this. Okay, sorry. Okay, inspect this button and copy the XPath for it, copy full XPath, and after that paste the XPath here. So we just have to login button dot click, use the click method for the login button. So I'm gonna just run the script and check if it's working fine or not. So now it's opening the web driver right now. So after that, it's gonna search for Instagram and wait for 6 seconds. As you guys can see here, we did put the delay here, so it can just boot it up very properly. So after that, it's gonna just log into our account. I created a temporary account for this tutorial, so as you can see that it has successfully logged into my account. So after that, we have to click on this icon to go to DM messages, and I'm gonna just inspect it. So when we inspect it, as you can see that it's not a button, it's SVG, so we can just copy the XPath from it. We can copy the XPath, but we cannot just use click method with it. So for that, I have another thing. Just click here, and as you can see, we have to write here usernames that we are going to be using to send DMs. So for that, right click it and inspect it. Let's see if it's a button or not. So it's not a button also. Don't worry, we have to just use a different approach for it. As you can see that everything has different link here, so I'm gonna just copy this link and paste it here. So it's gonna just log in into my Instagram account, and after that I'm gonna just delete for 5 seconds, maybe it's good, or 6 seconds. Okay, so after that it's gonna be just redirecting it to this thing, and after that we have to go to this input field, so for which we are gonna be creating another method. Let's just cut it and create another method for it, which will be send messages. Okay, so in that we just write this and self.bot. So it's gonna just open this thing here, and we have to click it and inspect it, so we can check the XPath for this input field. So yeah, just copy the path and bot dot, okay, paste it here, and after that we have to send these usernames that we entered here. It's gonna be saving in this self.dms account, and for that I'm gonna be just loop through with it. I'm gonna just save it in the search bar variable. After that we can just send keys dot send keys to account. So I'm gonna explain it. So as you can see that this is the list that we passed here, so it's gonna just iterate through each username. First of all, it's gonna just put it PyTroops, and then Justin Bieber, and then Zane. So after that we can also just for example, when I type here PyTroops, so after that we have to select this thing, just inspect it and copy the XPath from it. Select account and bot dot find XPath with, and okay, dot click. I'm gonna just click it because we have to click it to add into this input field. So it's gonna just repeat this process again and again here. First of all, it's gonna just put it here PyTroops, and after that Justin Bieber, and then Zen. First of all, it's gonna put PyTroops in this input field, and then it will just click here. For example, when I type Justin Bieber, so the first account is gonna be the actual account that we searched here. So it's gonna just select the first account from here. So for that we are just iterating through it. So after that, when we have selected accounts, for example this, we have to click this button right here. So I'm gonna just inspect it, and as you can see it's a button. So I'm gonna just copy the XPath. Okay, then I'm gonna be just naming it next button. In that find element by XPath, and copy the XPath of it and just click it. So I'm gonna just run the program and let's see if it's working fine or not. Now run the script. I'm just calling it into login function because whenever an object creates, so it will just run the instructor, and we can use these instances in the whole class, and after that it's gonna run login method every time, and after that in the end of this login method it's gonna go to send messages. So we got this problem here. So as you can see that it's showing this pop-up thing here, so we have to ignore it also. So for that we can just inspect it and go to now, and as it's a button, I'm gonna just copy the XPath of it, and it's showing this pop-up after this thing. Okay, so I'm gonna just paste the XPath here and dot click. Okay, so it's gonna just click the not now button here, and which will simply ignore this pop-up for us and continue the code. It will not prompt us error or anything, and except I'm gonna just pass it. If you don't know about the try except method, I'm gonna just explain shortly that what they do. So whenever it goes to try, it's just gonna try this thing under the try method, and if it's got any error, so it will just jump towards the accept method and run this thing. I'm gonna just pass it here. So I don't want anything to function here, so I'm gonna just passing it here. So after that, whenever we click the not now button, after that we are gonna just iterate through our accounts and just close it and run the script again. So we have logged in, and it's directing us to this page. Okay, so one more thing, we have to just time.sleep. So the delay in automation is really important because the code is gonna move towards the next line, and it will just find the next XPath for the different element, and if it's not loaded, so it's not gonna just load it up, but it will just prompt us an error. So for error handling, we have to put a delay, a suitable delay for it. So now just run the script. So now it's just gonna go to instagram.com, and after that it's gonna just enter my username and password in the input field and then click on login button. Let's see. Now it's logged in, and after that it's gonna move towards this page, and it will just ignore this pop-up by clicking not now, and it will just now load our a list which we provided, like all the usernames from the list, like PyTroops, and the second one is Justin Bieber, so it is just gonna load Justin Bieber, and after that Zayn Malik. Perfect. So now it should have to click next. So now it's clicking in next. So yes, it has created this group for these members, and we have to write the message here, which is this message. So we're gonna just inspect this. So now just copy the XPath from here and time.sleep 5-second message text equals to bot dot find element. So it's just gonna send message, sorry, self.message like this. So yes, and after that we also have to, whenever we type anything here, so it is just showing us this send button, and we have to inspect it also. So I'm gonna just copy the full XPath from it, and now I'm gonna just create a button variable bot dot find element by XPath and copy the XPath. After that send button dot click. It will just gonna send the message to all the usernames that we entered here, like we created a list. You can also just load any file, like CSV file or text file, and which can have hundreds of thousands usernames, and you can just run this code and it will just send the message to all the accounts. And you guys can use this script in the marketing strategy if you want to promote anything and you want to send messages to different person automatically. So you can just use this script very efficiently. So I also added some of my favorite female singer. I know that none of them are gonna give me any reply, so yeah, let's try it and just run it again. Let's see that is it working fine or not. As you know that our bot is completed, so it's gonna be our final test for it, and I'm gonna be uploading the code in the description. I'm gonna just give a GitHub repo link, so you can just easily go and just copy the code from here. So yes, it's working quite fine until now, and it will just gonna add different usernames here. You guys can also increase the speed of the code by just decreasing delay from the code. So now it has added all the accounts, and it's just clicking the next button, and now it's gonna just type message to all of them, and yes, it's sent. So yeah, that was the tutorial for today, the Instagram bot to send DMs to different usernames at once. So we are going to be creating different bots like Tinder, Twitter, Facebook, or any other bot that you want to create. You can suggest us in the comments, or you can just easily send us message on Facebook or Instagram at PyTroops. And yeah, subscribe to our channel and stay tuned, be productive.